Greetings, friends, and mostly enemies. I'm sorry if I'm looking particularly scruffy. It's because I am. Oh, man. Oh, why do I set these things in the morning? It's probably because I hate myself.
Or, you just want Mason to be here.
That's the real reason. I just wasn't going to tell him that. So thanks for taking the cat out of the hat. How are you doing today, Mason? How's your Memorial Day?
Ooh.
Hello, Tara Smith. I don't believe I've made your acquaintance before, but welcome into the chat. Happy to have you.
Hello.
Well, you added an E to the end, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome.
Oh, hello. It's great to meet you.
We're gonna be at your mom's wedding, so I imagine we'll see you in person.
Yes. Oh.
Tara, this is our good friend Mason. He's from the UK. He's part of Team Adventurous.
Yes.
Ah, very nice, Tara. To answer your question really quick, Mason, Memorial Day is a day that here in the U.S. where we celebrate our veterans. Our war vets are our military people because they deserve to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And that is cool, Tara. I'm looking forward to meeting you and seeing Kat again.
Yes. And this will be my first time meeting her in person. So that'll be great. Yeah, it's funny. She messaged me the other day and she was like, "Oh, so you're coming as somebody's +1, I see." Like, yeah, funny how those things work out.
All right. Whew.
Yeah.
Now that I'm something approximating alive.
Yes, after the infusion of caffeine, you're like, look.
Listen. This wolf runs on meat and caffeine.
Yes.
I wasn't late. What are you talking about? My thing was scheduled for 11:15, and I went live at 11:15. So you can do things to yourself. Alrighty. Let me just pull up my file here. Got lies. The God of lies.
Yeah.
God of lies.
Yeah.
Baby.
It says, you told me 11 a.m., bitch.
Oh, did I? Okay, well, let this be a lesson to you, Mason. Never trust what I say. Always verify. Okay. So, oh my God. And plus 15 minutes late. 15. How busy can a blind guy be? Are you fucking kidding me, Mason? 15 fucking minutes late. Yeah, man. I really fucked up your whole day with that 15 minutes.
He's like, I could be really busy. Like, I could have had some kind of underwater basket weaving, class to go to.
Caitlin, If you ever hit me with the underwater basket weaving while I'm taking a drink of something again, I'm adding several to the list. I almost spewed full throttle all over my monitor. I had to stifle a perfectly good laugh to not spew all over my monitor. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty.
Righty.
The Garden of Lies, chapter 23. I'm less busy because I'm blind. I expected better from a friend. Okay, maybe you're not less busy because you're blind. Maybe you're just less busy because you're a fucking homebody who doesn't do shit. How's that? How's that, Mason? Now, do you want me to read the goddamn chapter or not? We're 6 minutes into this live, and I've barely said the name of the thing, let alone started to read it. Okay. I'm going to try. Caitlin, try to breathe right.
Okay. He says, much better. Yes, go ahead.
He's like, you can call me lazy, but don't say it's because I'm blind. Okay. Without further ado, The Garden of Lies, chapter 23. Yet to master your rage. As the gathered contestants file out, I stay seated. I'm sure I look as if I am brooding. Probably because I am. Dalj, let's get gone. We still have a bunch of daylight left to see outside. Amnes nudges me. I look up at her from my seat. I need to do some thinking. You guys go ahead. I'm missing a quotation mark there. I swear, when I transferred over to this new computer, a bunch of shit got fucked up. Really? Not like you to pass up on shenanigans in a new locale, she reminds me. I nod my head and lean forward, elbows on knees and hands folded under chin. She looks at me, a little confused, a little concerned, but respects me enough not to press. She runs interference for me and answers all the inane questions from the pack about why I'm staying behind as she herds them away. Only Pogs stays behind, unsatisfied by her placations. What's going on, Dalj? I heard Angel last night. The admission shocks him. He is at a loss for words, unsure where to start. He lands on what happened. Can't go into details here. Too risky, but the long and short of it is, the Dark One took control, tried to kill her. Going into the mountain didn't work like last time. Is that why you weren't using it today? He asks. You could tell? You don't show pain on your face normally. Sometimes I forget Pogs is more absorbent than anyone gives him credit for. Yes, I'm going to mix the words absorbent and observant because my brain is much gooder at the languages.
I'm making that shirt. We gooder the words around here. I sigh. Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mason. I sigh. Yeah, you're spot on.
Whatever that thing in my head is, it's kicked me out of my own damn mountain. I touched it early when my shoulder got ruined. Felt like he was taking over. How bad did you... It hurt her. Does it matter? I say, defeated. I think it does, Dalj. Because here she comes. I jolt to sit upright and turn. And sure enough, Angel is coming down the steps, looking at me. I stand to greet her, but my words fail me, trapped in my throat by shame. I'll let you two be, Pog says as he walks off, a hand on my shoulder in passing. Angel stops in front of me and faces me. I shrink under her gaze. In my mind, if not in actuality. Hi, she says meekly. Hi, Angel, I manage. Can I sit? She points to the stone. Oh, of course, please. I stumble the words like a nervous child. She sits and looks at me expectantly. I realize she is waiting for me to sit down too. I feel a bit silly and join her. We sit like that for a while. I finally decide I have to say something. I don't know what to say. Way to go, Dalj. Master of verse and song. That's me. It's okay. Last night. I forgive you. I turn my head to look at her. I feel like a lead weight came off my chest just now, but I'm just as surprised as I am relieved. You do? I ask, barely able to say past the lump in my throat. Oh, so it would have been more like, you do? After we left, they analyzed your neurological readings from the archive. They say there's no doubt. It wasn't really you who attacked us, just your body. So it's obviously not your fault. I forgive you. And she pauses and looks me in the eyes, her own wet with held back tears. And I still love you. A dam breaks and tears fall unrestrained from both our eyes. I pull her into a kiss faster than the eye can see. I hold her so tightly I have to remind myself I could break her. I love you, Angel, I say to her between furious kisses. I love you, Dalj, she says back. We must repeat it half a dozen times, as if we think the other may not have heard or believed it. After I get the tide of emotion under control, I remember where I am. This would need to look a lot more aggressive and one-sided to not look suspicious. I push her away and rubberneck, hoping no one saw. Thankfully, it looks like it's just Rendas and Tenna in the stands. Why is Tenna still there watching? I'll put that one aside for now. So, what happened to the archive? I didn't destroy it, did I? I am genuinely concerned. No, there's spare parts in the tunnels, and the AI has a self-repair function. It's gonna be a while, though. That's a relief to hear. I don't need to be a genius to understand how important the archive is. Now I'm hearing this, I realize a portion of my guilt centered around thinking I had destroyed all that knowledge. I breathe a heavy sigh of relief and pull my woman into a simple hug. So incredibly thankful she has forgiven me. If there is a God, I thank it. Come on, let's eat, I say, standing. She looks excited and eagerly follows. Rendas departed at some point, but Tenna stuck around to greet us. Ah, you two made up. So precious, she says. Okay. Thank you, I guess. Wonder how she knew we had an issue. I suppose it wasn't hard to tell just from watching. Tenna falls in with us, seemingly to Angel's consternation. I track the scent of my pack to a smaller tavern in the southwest of Outside. This part of town is significantly more mellow. Most of my fellow trial contestants seem to like gravitating to Respite Lane. Crowds are cool every now and then, but I don't want to deal with that noise all trial. Apparently my pack feels the same. The tavern is called the Wing and Fang, and when I step inside, I see why. The bartenders are a fox and an avian. The interior is simple and clean. They favor a sort of homestead look here over the grand wine hall look the element favors. I spot my pack near the back. We occupy a few small tables they push together. Started without me. The disrespect, I complain. Taking a seat, Angel stands at the end of the table to sell the act. Why is that like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember now. Hang on.
Oh no! We interrupt this story for minor technical difficulties.
For minor technical edits.
These live tweets, man.
We'll get there. Angel stands at the end of the table to sell the act. We didn't know how long you planned to mope around. Glad to see your girl problems sorted themselves out. Amnes teases me, pulling Tenna into a chair next to her. Tenna smiles and snatches Amnes's drink from the table. The two proceed to play fight over it. Angel, fetch me some mead and something from the grill. I swat her butt to send her away, both to sell the act and because I like touching her butt. She glares at me, but there's an almost imperceptible, devilish grin on her lips when she goes. Conversation turns to me, and I have to deflect why I stayed behind for a bit. But eventually they get tired of my stonewalling, and we begin discussing the day's events. My and Amnes's fights being the favorite topics of discussion. I'm honestly most impressed with Kira and Class's performances. Stir seems to do his best to praise Kira's exploits without being too obvious. He mostly fails. When I'm done with my food, I tell Angel she can have my scraps, about the only way I can feed her publicly without scrutiny. I left her half. She kneels at my feet, the plate in her lap while she eats. I stroke her hair as if she were my pet. The act is so convincing. I think I even see some of my friends buying it. I turn my head, and who do I see but Senkotsu himself strolling in. He's got his own collection of cuts and bruises. Win your bracket? I ask when I stand. Did I win my bracket? He says sarcastically as I bump fists with him. Hey, I gotta tell you something. Let me borrow your ear, I tell him as I walk past and wave him outside. He looks irritated but follows. I take him behind the tavern and duck into a corner that I hope will mute sound effectively. What, man? I'm trying to eat, Sin complains. Do you want to know why those shaman tried to kill us? I whisper. Oh shit. Yeah? But later. Too sketchy to talk here, he whispers back. I nod, and we go back in. Loudly talking about the trial to throw off suspicion. Once I feel I've been here long enough for appearance's sake, I tell everyone I'm heading back to the inn, and me and Angel depart. I spend the rest of daylight walking around outside talking with her. Now that she said she forgives me, it feels like we barely missed a beat. Part of me worries if she's still afraid of me, but I try not to let my anxiety affect my feelings of affection and love for her. We eventually wander off, away from the city, about a mile or two into the plains, and just watch the sunset together. We sit quietly for a while, but then Angel breaks the silence. So, have you decided what you're going to do? Short term, I'm going to see the trial through to the end. I have to, for my pack. After, I don't know, Angel. The shaman deserved to be overthrown, but I don't see how we're going to do it. The population is literally brainwashed. We have no weapons to match the might of the shaman. Hypothetically, our primary fighting force is humans, who are at a supreme disadvantage. The game looks nigh unwinnable. What if we change the game? You have something in mind? I ask expectantly. She nods. The Forgotten say they have an ace in the hole, something that could change everything. They won't tell me what it is. Immunes and need-to-knows only. But if you join, they might tell you. Is my only response. If it's true, it does change the equation. But how much? What could be so monumental it really affects the odds that much? My imagination treats me to a few theories. But with the knowledge I have, none seem plausible. Which leaves me two basic conclusions. My knowledge and or imagination is lacking, or the Forgotten are stringing me and Angel on because they're desperate for manpower. I don't really buy that second option. The Forgotten are basically a secret society within the Shaman Empire, with a covert network of operatives all looking out for one another. You don't make something like that function by desperately recruiting bodies. Which means I don't know something. Damn it all! I hate not knowing stuff. Drives me nuts. No idea what it is, huh? I fish, hoping for any hint or clue. She just shakes her head no, as it's leaned against my shoulder. You still want me to fell this empire for you? She gazes into the sunset, creeping down to hide behind the massive and imposing peaks of the Gates mountain range. I want justice, she says. I think for a moment. You mean for your mom? She doesn't answer, but a tear falls down her cheek. As she leans into me more, I wrap her in my arms and just hold her for a while. I don't understand how she can love a shifter. I don't know what breed it was, but one of my far-flung cousins killed her mom. I would have a sour taste in my mouth afterwards towards all shifters, to say the absolute least. Regardless, though, she loves me, and I'm so damn thankful. You saved me, you know, I say to her softly. What do you mean? When I was trapped inside, I heard your voice. I heard you say you love me, that I'll always be your blah. That gave me the strength, the will. I pushed past that thing in my head. I stopped. Way to steal credit. I glance over my shoulder. Chaos's voice whispered in my ear. It's gonna take some getting used to before I stop looking for the voice. You stopped because I said I love you? I nod. That's so romantic. She settles against me even more, and we watch the daylight fade, giving way to the light of the 3 moons of Garden. Do you know the story of the 3 moons? Of the constellations? I ask her. Nuh-uh. I smile at her. Do you want to hear them? She inhales in excited anticipation, and I begin telling her the lore of the moons and constellations. I know it's all tripe now, but it's still an interesting enough story. Plus, most of the Empire believes it, so it's handy knowledge besides. I tell her about how Magnatoris is said to live on the largest golden moon. His prodigal son, Rinkotsu, the masked god, lives on the red moon. And my namesake, the dark and light jester, commonly shortened to the jester god, is said to live on the smallest blue moon. I just realized I need to edit that because the moon is green now. I think I've told that story in previous installments of this, where in my original mock-ups of the solar map, that moon was blue, and now it's green.
And
somehow.
now it's green.
I don't know how or when I changed it, but it's green now. So you saw it here, folks. Yep. I just retconned the story to match the maps. Oh god!
Oh, it's like, oh,
like, god damn it!
Oh no!
And I used to think it was the fucking graphic artist that I hired who did it for some reason, but then I checked the materials I sent her, and nope, sure enough, it was me. At some point, I made that moon green and totally forgot about it.
Oh.
Anyways, okay. The dark and light jester, commonly shortened to the jester god, is said to live on the smallest green moon. I then tell her about the warrior goddess, Yegra, said to hunt down and slay the demons of the void. I tell her about Pharaoh Fae, the goddess of nature, said to be the friend of the jester. And you already know the story of Blula, I say. I don't know the story. I only know they call it the Star of the Intertwined. Oh, okay, I guess I'll tell you that too. As the legends go, Magnatoris had 2 sons, Jester and Rin, and Yegra had her 2 daughters. Well, Blula was so beautiful that both Jester and Rin wanted her, but Blula saw that Rin's heart was corrupted by his many vices. But the Jester sought to balance his darkness with the light. So Blula loved only the Jester. And she asked Magnatoris to forge a star for her, to give to the Jester, so he could forever control his darkness with the light that she gave him. She waited on that star while the Jester followed the Lover's Path constellation to find her. The Jester lost his way in the darkness, but his friend Pharaoh Fae found him and helped him, led him to his lover's star. So the story goes. When I looked down, she fell asleep at some point. So I pick her up and take her with me to the Greenfield Inn. I'm thankful when I manage to get her up to my room without anyone seeing. I lay her down and lay down next to her, holding her close. The smell of fertile soil and almonds in my nose, and her warm softness comforts me as I drift to sleep. I dream, but they are only of soft, gentle things.
A cool breeze on a late summer evening. Cold water flowing over my fur. Angel's voice whispering to me. When I am awake, then I am awake, and to my displeasure, Angel is gone. I briefly worry she was taken, but hers is the only other scent in the room. She left of her own accord. My nerves ease a bit. She must have had something important to get her, of all people, to wake early. Still, I wish she had woken me to say goodbye. I turn my head a little and notice something on her pillow. It's a scrap of fabric from her dress. It smells strongly of her as I press it gently to my philtrum. I have a little spare time. I sew the edges of the scrap of fabric so it doesn't fray, then tie it to the pommel of my white-handled sword. For my loved ones. The light indeed, I whisper to myself as I secure the fabric, lightly tugging it to make sure it's secure. The lime green of the fabric kind of clashes with the white skull of my pommel, but I don't care in the least. To me, her token is almost as valuable as the sword itself. I join the others for breakfast and sit next to Sin. He's drinking whiskey with his omelet. Do you ever stop? I ask. Do you ever shut up about it? He casually retorts. I scoff as I grab a plate and load it for Bear. Pogs is replenishing his energy after yesterday. His plate is a mountain of food. Good God, Pogs can pack it away. Now that the unrest about Angel and me is relieved, and I'm back to only worrying about being assassinated or directly arrested for treason, I'm more able to enjoy the little things. Sitting down and eating a meal with my friends has always been one of the great pleasures of my life. We talk and joke, banter and insult, but we all know the other would step between us and a ripjaw. There are rich men with less wealth than I have. So, Tenna, what are your plans when the trial is over and we all head back home? Or off to some assignment? I ask, curious, if she plans to follow Amnes around. I don't know yet. Haven't really decided, she says casually, but something in her voice, a certain longing. I get the feeling she isn't thrilled by the idea of our gang being split up. I would ask Sin, but he's just as stuck. I would ask Sin, but he's just as stuck as me in my pack. If we get specific assignment, that's it. That's where we will go. If not, we go back to Three Fang, and Engiel decides where to use us. I really hope we all manage that fate, but with my luck. And of course, there is the possibility of rebellion. We wrap up breakfast and head back into town to once again gather for the trial. On the way into town, me and Sin fall away from the others a bit, and I fill him in on what I can safely tell him, which isn't much. Mostly just that they were looking for an agent of a secret rebellion that they think I am involved with. I keep things vague, and he's smart enough to know I'm not giving him the full story. But he doesn't care much, as long as he's not in any further danger, he says. I'm fairly sure he isn't, as long as he doesn't know what I know. But I wish I could tell him. In some ways, I've come to love him like a brother, much like I do Pogs. When Sin sticks with my group as we head for the Northwest Lake, I'm surprised. They told me they're now merging my group into the Northern Lake group, now that a number of contestants has been so drastically cut, he tells me. That suits me fine. Means I have one more friend at my side for this whole affair. The arena bleachers have even more civilians today. I guess some don't care about watching the weak get weeded out. Me and my friends sit basically where we did yesterday, on the long wall of cascading stone steps. 12 inches horizontal, 12 inches vertical, repeating hundreds of feet from the top where the water fills to down to the slab, only interrupted by the actual stairs centered lengthwise in the giant steps. It's like they made stairs for a giant to descend into his lake bathtub. That's a silly thought. For clarity, that's actually in the novel. That line, that's a silly thought. Like, that's internal dialogue because,
Well, hey, at least you didn't say sigh out loud.
Shut up. It doesn't take long before shaman begin filling the slab as they did yesterday. Fewer today, though. Their numbers cut by over a third. The speaker is the same man. He looks exactly as he did yesterday. And it's eerie in a way. Greetings, warriors. The second day of the trial is upon us. Now, everyone present will be remaining for the duration of the trial, barring death, grave injury, and removal, of course. We shall discuss briefly the criteria and system on which you are being evaluated for your ascendance to Shaman Guard. Firstly, let me say, the trial is designed and deliberately modeled after war itself in many ways. Therefore, there is an element of chance deliberately built in, as you witnessed firsthand yesterday. The chaos of war means only the strong or exceedingly lucky survive. Now that we have found the strong and the lucky, we investigate other, more vital aspects of war, chiefly teamwork, leadership, and planning. You are all being carefully observed and graded on your prowess, not just as warriors, but in these vital traits, as well as certain other criteria we will not be discussing. Because of this, it is technically possible to lose every single event in the trial, but still receive the rank of Shaman Guard. However, this is exceedingly rare in occurrence. I do not recommend the route of deliberate mediocrity, unless your goal is failure, in which, by all case, or excuse me, unless your goal is failure, in which case, by all means. He says the last bit dripping with condescendence. I wonder if that's his idea of a joke. He continues. Now, concerning today's event. Today, you will be functioning as a team to win a conflict. The conditions for victory are removing all opponents from the slab, either by water or forcing them to retreat on the bridge, knocking them unconscious, or capturing them. We will be placing you in packs of 10. Those who are not beholden to a pack will be assigned to one by a shaman. We will begin moving through your seating and assigning shortly. Please stay where you are and have your contestant ticket ready to show on request. Now we're talking my language. Fighting as a pack is Wolf's specialty. The even numbers make it a challenge, but as long as we don't end up fighting against 10 war shells or some other ridiculously unfair arrangement like that, I think we got this. I hope they give me Sin. I wave Amnes over to consult her on strategy. We end up involving Pogs and Kira in our meeting, too. A careful inventory of injuries taken into account, weapons on hand, and a basic game plan decided on, we now wait for our new fighters and our enemies to become known. The shaman file through the stands, speaking with my brothers and sisters in arms. I listen in as much as I can, fishing for useful info, as do my fellow planners. We occasionally share a whisper or a pointed finger between us. We get a useful tidbit here and there, but mostly it's noise. Finally, a shaman comes to our road to speak to me. An avian woman I slightly recognize, and Aku the war shell himself stand, following the shaman. Name? He asks me. Mad Wolf, Dalj Thorn. Very good. I see you were sent to the trial with a pack of 7, and... this is impressive. All of them are also here today, is that correct? Thank you, sir. That is correct. Makes my job easier. I am assigning this war shell and this avian to your pack for the day's event. You will need one more. I gesture with a hand to cut him off. May I request my friend, the saber-tooth Sinkotsu, right here with me. The shaman looks slightly annoyed at my interruption and reviews the scroll he is looking at. I do not see why not. Makes my job that much easier. Yes, it is done. Direwolf and Sabertooth. It's almost poetic. It is your turn to fight. Your pack will be called... When it is your turn to fight, your pack will be called by your name, Direwolf. He scribbles a sigil onto all of our contestant tickets, and then moves on. I turn, and Sin is shaking his head, giving me a sorrowful look. I'm gonna die today, he says with resign. Oh, shut up. You'll hurt morale, I say. I hear him snickering as I turn. I turn to my new recruits and extend my hand. Aku grins when he shakes it. Not today, obviously, but eventually I have to get you back for that stunt yesterday. If you can catch me, Warshell. He laughs, and I chuckle with him, before stepping past him to the avian woman. I recognize her now. It's the four-winged beauty that passed our camp. If she recognizes any of us, it doesn't show. I extend a hand. Greetings, cousins from the north. I'm Mad Wolf, Dalj Thorn. She shakes my hand dutifully and makes solid eye contact. Her features are sharp and appealing in a haunting way, and I am sure she can see clear over my head. I have never seen a taller woman. Her gaze is iron. I am Battle Priest, Condor, Pillar Zan Skyborn. Well met, Direwolf. She inclines her head slightly in respect. Let's see, if I remember my ranks right, Condor is equal to Alpha. The Battle Priest part, though, that is another matter entirely. Battle Priest is a special title given only to those in the Battle Priest Corps of their nation's military. They exist for the sole purpose of hunting down and trying apostates and heretics. I wasn't a fan before the archive. Guess how I feel now. I try not to let my visceral internal reaction show on my face and voice. Damn, I miss the mountain. Rare to meet a battle priest. Pleasure to have you aboard. I lie. They are notorious killjoys. She nods her head solemnly and takes a seat. Yay! I am bursting with excitement. Aku joins my friends in idle talk, but Pillar chooses to sit quietly, hands folded in her lap and eyes closed. Her calm is absolute. It reminds me of the Way of the Mountain meditation I used to perform to enter the state. The shaman are wrapping up grouping everyone now, and if appearance is anything to go by, some of the groups are quite eclectic and cosmopolitan in nature. The shaman file back to the slab and convene for a dozen minutes or so before dispersing to the edges as they did yesterday. They call the first two groups by their leaders' names. I am happy that I get to watch a bout first this time around. Good opportunity to study. One group is mostly cats, but they also have a war shell and a snake, plus 2 war dogs. The opposing group has 2 aquatics, an avian, a war shell, and war dogs to fill out the ranks. It occurs to me for the first time, war dogs make up the bulk of not just the Canaan military, but the Empire's military. They are the single biggest shifter group in the Empire military. The infantry, as it were. The officiating shaman informs me the aquatics, they are allowed to use the water, but if they are forced into it from the slab, it counts as a knockout. The avians may take to the sky, but only to a max of 10 feet. He also announces to the entire arena that avians have weaker bones than us, landlocked folks, or even the aquatics. So we must take that into consideration so we do not kill our fellow contestants. It makes me take a second look at Pillar. Now that he mentions it, she is pretty thin despite her good muscle tone. When the conflict begins, the lack of cohesion among the cat-dominant group is evident. The war dog group moves, with some mild stiffness, as one. The coordination from the war dog group proves to be a deciding factor. They pick off enemies from the opposing group, using herding tactics. After many millennia, man is his own sheepdog. The cats are corralled into a corner and one by one forced off the edge. The war dogs only lost 3 people in the entire 12-minute battle. The day goes on, and I am thrilled to get the chance to watch a shifter of every nation and most breeds in action. I make sure my entire group drinks in the spectacle too. You can't get knowledge this valuable in a classroom. Finally, 3 hours into watching conflict, my group is called to the slab. I note that Pillar does not fly or glide down, but walks the steps with the rest of us. I cannot relate. If I had wings, I would look for excuses to take to the sky. Seems like a ton of fun to me. The shaman directing the events points us to a general area to wait for our opponents. He calls out Viva, and a group begins rising and filing down the steps. I count an aquatic, an avian, a war shell, and 7 cats. Oh, shit, Sin says next to me. What? I ask, while keeping an eye on my opponents. I'm trying to size them up, and somehow the cat at the front looks familiar. Viva is our drummer, Sin says. Now it comes back to me. The insanely jacked drummer from Tenna's band. Oh, shit indeed. Everyone, circle up. I quickly make adjustments to our plan. The shaman directs them to the north side of the slab, us to the south. We are midway between the western bridge and the opposite dead end on the slab's east end. The shaman stands between us and asks me and Viva if we are ready. We confirm we are, and the shaman walks to stand near the bridge. When he stops, the fight begins. Form up, I say loud enough for only my pack to clearly hear. We enter a formation I learned, then modified. Normally, It's called wedge formation, but that name is lame and sucks. I call my modified version armor piercing arrow, APA for short, which is awesome and sounds deadly and fearsome. Aku takes the point of the arrow. He is a pugilist, meaning his fighting style is punch until mush. I respect the simplicity of it, if I am being honest. He wears Novlum iron gauntlets and heavy leather armor. Flanking him on either side are my Gammas and Kira. Tucked behind the arrow's head, Pogs crouches with his warhammer. Pillar stands behind Pogs, her hands pressed palm to palm as if in prayer. I and Amnis are on the sides. Sin takes rear guard. The enemy is clearly unsure how to respond to our defensive approach. There's hesitation from everyone except the fish, who jumps into the water. I take a deep breath. It is time to show those gathered why wolves stayed in the minds of Homo sapiens since we crawled in Earth's caves. I howl the challenging howl. My fellow wolves join me. Though we all maintain human shape, our voices still reach into the fear center of the brain, where our DNA still remembers cold nights hiding from hungry winter wolves. Fangs to flesh, claw to stone, I shout our war cry. Blood to fang, foe to grave, my pack shouts back. The war cry clearly has an effect. After several cats look shaken, the bird looks ready to fly the coop. We sprint forth to meet our enemy. They are unprepared. They barely manage to shout their numbers into a defensive line. Their avian takes flight. Pillar soars to challenge her counterpart in the sky over us. Aku meets Viva in a clash of sinewed mass. My Gammas fan and meet the enemy line, but we quickly begin pushing them back. Sky Wolf! I shout as loud as I can over the din of battle. Taking the signal, Aku shoves Viva off him and takes a knee. Pogs gets a brief running start, then rushes forth and uses Aku's shoulder as a launch pad. Aku bursts up as Pogs jumps. Between the two, Pogs almost gets 15 feet of vertical height. On his way up, he manages to club Viva in the face with a swing of his hammer and seize the enemy avian by the arm. The fall is just as glorious as the ascent. When Pogs lands in a crouch, the enemy doesn't know whether to turn and face him or stay focused on us. Pogs uses the opening to Pogs uses the opening to use the avian as a club and swing him into one of the cats. The two of them go down in a battered clump. That's where I lose track of the fighting. My plan had one potential flaw, which proved to come to fruition. Viva managed to recover pretty fast, and thanks to his cat-like agility, he has shoved past the grounded Aku and charges me with his short sword and buckler. He begins taking furious swings at me. My superior weapon remains unscratched, but with a ruined right shoulder, I can't defend against this overgrown furball very long. Everyone else is currently fighting a counterpart. The shark popped up out of the water behind us to be handled by Sin, as I expected. Here, kitty kitty, I taunt. Hey, you gotta have fun with your work, okay? He doesn't seem to appreciate it, and his next swing has some stank on it. He knocks the sword clean out of my grip. It takes every bit of agility I have to avoid this guy. I would try to close, but he would just shield bash me with his stupid buckler. I unsheath my second sword to continue the swordplay, in which I am thankfully his superior. But damn if that matters when he has this much of an agility advantage on me. We wage a war of attrition on each other, blow after blow. He hopes he can wear me down before I get reinforcement. If I had the mountain, he wouldn't have a prayer. As is, I can't spare a glance anywhere to see if calling for help is even a viable option. I take my eyes away for a second and I'm liable to lose them. Even if the rules say no deliberate maiming, you just can't trust an angry cat to play nice. He enters a series of swipes, and I recognize the form. He's repeating a sequence. Now's my chance. I wait for the center mass thrust. When he is ready to make it, I am ready to counter. I manage to spin to the side, dodging his blade completely before lunging up the length of his arm and bringing my sword to his neck. His eyes go wide, and we stand like that for a moment. In my peripheral vision, I see a shaman jogging up. He stops about a dozen feet off for safety. "Viva! You have been captured. Leave the slab." For a moment, he doesn't move. And when he squints at me, I worry he's about to do something he'll regret. But then he huffs out a frustrated breath and jogs away towards the bridge. I'm about to turn back to the fray, but then I hear a really loud thudding impact, and the ground starts getting closer. I wake up lying on a wooden slab outside the medic tent. I look around to see Pogs is sitting in a chair, looking down into the arena. I clear my throat to speak, and he turns his head. "Dalj, you're awake. Was wondering how long you planned on napping," he teases as he approaches. "What the fuck happened?" I say, lightly rubbing my temples. I feel like Goliath kicked my head. One of those damn cats had a sling, flung an egg-sized rock, missed his target. Damn rock sailed right into the back of your head. You should have seen your fall, right out of a high-tier stage drama. The Poet in the Willow? I suggest. More like 5 days on a cliff. I always hated 5 days on a cliff. I know, boss. He grins, offering me a hand. I take it and manage to get to my feet, only slightly wobbly. My swords? He points. They're leaned against a crate near where my head was, but my tension doesn't ease until I see Angel's slip of fabric still hanging from my white pommeled sword. "We win?" is my obvious follow-up question. "Decisively. Skywolf absolutely shattered their line. We were tossing them into the water left and right. Only you and Amnis were put out, matter of fact." My eyes go wide. Amnis was knocked out? Pulled into the water. She got too close to two cats that she was herding off the slab. They pulled her in with them. I can't help but laugh at that. Got a little too confident and went all in on a 2-for-1. Amnis in a nutshell. My head is killing me. We have to stay for the rest? Afraid so, boss. I sigh and begin mumbling a string of curse words as we trudge back to where the group is seated. They all cheer my return and start filling me in on the fight. Apparently, everyone is talking about our little war cry stunt. We were the first to do it, but since we fought 3 of the next 7 fights have had one side do it, one of them had both sides do it. In the 2 where only one side did it, the side with the war cry won. Never underestimate psychological warfare. You can win without swinging a blade, NGO once told me. I was exceptionally skeptical during that particular lesson. I guess I owe him a mug of mead. From my friends, I gather that I was out for about 3 hours. There's only about 3 or 4 fights left. And Aku was invited, and Aku has invited us all to drinks. A cold drink sounds like heaven right now, if I'm being honest. We watched the fights dutifully, but I stopped learning from them at some point. Not many imaginative tacticians among my peers. It seems the wolves have a monopoly on crazy battle plans. When the fighting has wrapped up, the shaman announces we will once again be meeting here tomorrow. Same time to continue. He stresses that we should bring everything we could possibly need in a fight. I wonder what that's about. My group doesn't waste any time marching into the city and picking the first bar. To my slight surprise, Pillar tags along. A few of her friends join us, but they mostly keep to themselves. I'm still punch-drunk from my love affair with the Rock. I don't notice the name. I only notice when there's food and mead in front of me. About halfway through both, I'm starting to feel normal again. You know, they say you shouldn't eat or drink right after a concussion, Tenna says as she sits down next to me. They never gave me good advice before. Don't see why I should start listening now. She laughs at my reply, and we toast. So where's your cute little pet? She asks me. Angel? Off somewhere handling her business, I'm sure. She's kind of secretive. Yeah, I noticed that. Do you love her? The question catches me off guard, and I choke on my meat a little. Shifters don't normally think of humans as something to love. Most barely rate humans above edible toys. What if I did? I probe, because I'm not sure where this is going. Then you should make her yours, Tenna says, like it's obvious. You don't object to shifters and humans being together? Nah, mate. I see the way you look at her. I know why you didn't follow me up to your room back in Three Fang. She was on your mind. Tenna has more on the ball than I gave her credit for. You're right, I admit. I know. She smiles. Why is it doing that? I laugh. You're starting to sound like Amnes. She sighs in exasperation. Oh my gods, I know, right? It's almost gross. What do you mean? I ask, taking a drink. Attachment isn't my thing. But, like, you wolves really seem to dig it? I don't know. We have fun, but I don't want her to get too attached. Tenna seems more worried over this than anything else me and her have ever talked about before. Why don't you want Amnes to get attached? My curiosity is piqued. She smiles at me. Because I like to roam. I look her in the eyes for a moment, assessing. You're an odd creature, Tenna. She raises her glass. Thank you. She bubbles. I clink her glass with mine. We wander through a few more bars and outside before we all decide the bar at the inn has all the creature comforts and booze. So we all head back to the green field and settle in. The owner sees we are in a festive mood and tells us he has a few instruments lying in a closet. Sin and Tenna each grab one. Sin grabs a guitar. Tenna grabs this cool instrument the populace of the Empire call a hypnodrome. I know on Earth it had a different name. They begin slapping out music, and dancing and drinking ensues in the common room of the inn. A few other patrons come in to investigate the racket and end up joining. They even know us by reputation. They say the whole capital is buzzing with talk of the trial. Apparently the wolves are fan favorites. I fan out. There's only about 50 wolves still left in the whole trial, and by some hilarious quirk of fate, My 7 are the only ones in my bracket. You can't make this stuff up. I surprise everyone when I start singing the words to a song I know. Between the 3 of us, we have a halfway decent band going. The patrons clap along to the music and dance with my pack to the song. But when it's over, Sin and Tenna say they don't care for my singing. I tell them that stings. The evening goes on, and we all end up getting pretty drunk. As has become something of a habit, me and Sin end up wandering off together to find a place to leak. After accosting this poor bush, I notice a log by the inn stream that is perfect for sitting. I point it out to him, and we agree to take a breather from the ruckus inside. This is a scene out of my real life. For a while, we just joke about nonsense and talk about the trial. But something has been bugging me since we got to the capital, and being intoxicated loosens Sin's lips more than most people's. I might actually get an answer with how drunk he is. I wait for a lull in the conversation. Then I ask. So, man, I gotta ask, what's your gripe with the shaman? He loses his mirth. For a while, I think he might just stand and walk inside. He's just staring at the stream. An angry look on his face. I'd better drop it. Actually, Sin, when I was a kid, he cuts me off, and I let him talk. My mom used to get mad and beat me senseless. Called me names. Treated me like garbage, man. Said I would never amount to anything because I couldn't take anything seriously. His eyes begin to moisten up. I realize I have never seen him cry. She thought she could just do whatever to me because I was her kid. One time, she punched me in the face as hard as she could. When I was on the ground, she made me kiss her feet before I could run to my room. I was 8, man. The tears start flowing. My heart feels heavy as lead. And then my breath catches in my throat. I put a hand on his shoulder, but he shrugs it off before continuing. Then, later that year, she starts dating this guy. He liked to beat the shit out of me, too. One time, I actually heard them in the other room comparing bruises they left on me. 8 fucking years old, man. His voice catches. Snot and tears coat his face. I feel like an asshole for asking about this. They broke up, and a few months later, Elder selects me for training. Guess who the shaman combat instructor was? Oh. Now it all makes sense. Sin takes a shaky breath. That fucking asshole always put me against kids he knew could kick my ass. He used to make me spar with him. He was a cursing shaman. Ever heard of those? I have. They're pretty damn rare. Rarer than dreamsmiths. They have the ability to directly affect your body in all kinds of ways. Instantly snap bones, rupture organs, snap their fingers and cause a seizure. The Grand Council actually has special laws specifically for curse casters. I nod to Sin, beginning to understand just what he's gone through. He seemed to think it was his life mission to break me, but I was always making the other kids laugh, making others smile. He fucking hated me. Why did they hate me, Dalj? He breaks down, and I pull my friend into a hug. He tries to shrug me off once, But when I don't let go, he just gives up and cries. I can't tell if I'm more enraged or sorrowful. It sounds like Sin suffered more than I did when I was learning the mountain, with none of the purpose. I marvel that he's sane and in one piece. He must truly have a will of novellum iron. After a few minutes, he begins composing himself and pushes me off. He walks over to the stream and washes his face. Then he walks back over to me. He's smiling again, like when we left the inn 20 minutes ago. It's haunting in the context of what just happened. Come on, man. Let's go inside, he says cheerfully. Dream world. I stand in the, oh, right, the expanse, Chaos called it. I'm in human form. I wonder what it is this time. We have to have a quick debrief about the archive event. He snaps up from everywhere. He says from everywhere and nowhere. Then he takes shape in front of me. Okay, good. I have some questions. Like, for the 100th time, what the hell is the rendezvous? Rendas and Bastion practically shit themselves when I asked about it. This will only be the 3rd time you have asked. I swear to God, Chaos, just answer the fucking question. Very well. I was going to cover that anyways. Now that you know the true history, we can discuss it without your mind fracturing. What? Your mind. It may have fractured under the burden of knowledge had I told you the truth. What? But I learned from the archive and I'm fine. You call an enraged rampage, almost killing your love, fine? He reprimands me. I can't argue with that logic. Not to mention, there's a big difference between me telling you and you learning for yourself. Why? I ask. I cannot tell you. Oh, you have got to be fucking kidding me. I am not. Do you want to hear about the rendezvous or not? Sigh. Yes. The rendezvous is the title of a plan for the Ark that carried the humans into the stars to meet back up on their way to Earth, reclaiming our ancestral homeworld being the goal. As I said, the date Garden's Ark is scheduled for launch approaches. We must find the Ark and make the rendezvous. Okay, that all sounds pretty important. But why is it such a big deal to you? It's not like our species is dying out on Garden. I wish to return home. What? But you exist inside my head. Garden is your home, just like it's mine. No, not truly. Our origins lie on Earth. Not to mention, there are things the human race left there that we could not bring into the stars. We must return. What could be so important that we need to travel halfway across our galaxy for it? The lives of the descendants of those left behind, for one, if any survived. Oh. Okay, that is pretty important. How do you know all this? This wasn't in the knowledge primer. Adam barely mentioned the arcs. I cannot tell you. Yet. You are driving me nuts with this shit. I sprint forward and seize Chaos by the neck, squeezing as hard as I can. Tell me the truth. Careful. Your anger feeds him. That splashes ice water on my fire, and I let go. Chaos sighs. What are you? Are you some kind of angel? Some cosmic entity? No, not to my knowledge. Although, I suppose it is possible I am unaware of my own nature. So many things in nature are. More cryptic carapace shit. Why can't you tell me what the hell you are? What the Dark One is? And you mentioned my dad. You said his name before. How could you possibly have known my dad? I did know Edward. And I promise someday, soon, I will be able to answer all of those questions and more. But for now, I will answer this at least. I honestly do not know what the Dark One is. He is unique. An anomaly I am still studying. Can we just, lock him in the mountain and forget about him? I mean, losing the mountain sucks, but I can learn to live without it. I don't think that's a good idea. I think if we lock him up and pretend he isn't there, he will pop up at the worst moment. Not to mention, the mountain did serve a valuable purpose, and you have not yet replaced its function. Oh, really? What's that? You have yet to master your rage. The Garden of Lies, Chapter 23. You have yet to master your rage.
Oh,
Oh.
man. This chat has been going.
Yes, I see that. Mason has been fucking.
Lovely live tweets.
Oh, well, that was one hell of a fucking chapter to read, people. You got to witness several live edits. My voice is sore as shit, and I have a bunch of live tweets.
Hey, but you didn't yawn a whole bunch this time.
Yeah, but that's partially because I'm gonna have to figure out how to manage to breathe through my nose, because inhaling through my mouth to stave off the yawning made my voice dry up faster.
Yeah. So.
Pain in the ass.
Did you see what I did? So you breathe in through your nose.
Caitlin, now is not the time to try to teach me circular breathing. I'm gonna catch up on the live tweets.
Oh, Orky!
Orky
is here.
Orky
is here. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and also, hey, Mom. But we're gonna catch up on Mason's live tweets, because that's pretty much the only thing keeping me doing these at this point.
And hello, Orky. It is lovely to meet you.
And yes, ha 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 ha, Mason.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Your age. Why don't you act your age?
Sigh out loud to Pogs. Much more. He said vomit. Fuck you. Because it has eyes, Dalj. That's how he knew.
Oh my god.
I'm not hungry anymore. Here, have this entire plate of chicken wings and fries. You know what, Mason? There wasn't going to be a long romantic wash on the beach, but now I'm going to retcon the book just so there is.
Yep.
Because if the shamans have a Mercedes Guardian, they'll be safe. Okay, for posterity's sake, just to make this easy on you folks, there's been several inside jokes from our last broadcast, Adventurous After Dark, over on the Adventurous Publication channel, which is linked in the description. If you want to get the inside jokes, you just got to go watch the last
Yeah.
episode and subscribe while you're there.
Yes. Aw, thank you, Orky. We try.
Angel wants justice. Sorry, babe. Dylan is married to the law.
She wants justice.
Dylan,
Aw.
you know, I never
That's right.
pass up a chance to do some world building.
Exactly.
And it's Jagra with a J because it's a German root word, Mason. I know you know that. I know you know that. It will exercise your demons. Fucking lol. She fell asleep. Which that is very much true to the person in real life whom that character is based on. That is very much accurate to that person in real life. I hate world building. It makes me sleepy.
It's like, come on. Oh, that's quite a
Well, listen. Okay, Mason, look. White and green do clash when the other color of the sword is red.
It's Christmas.
Kill you with Christmas.
You could kill me with Christmas. Ah.
Bane the Shaman to get punched in the face almost as much as I wanted it for Theod. Bane the Shaman? Who the fuck is Bane the Shaman?
That's what he says every time you do the shaman's voice. Because you put your hand over your mouth.
Well, I'm doing that to simulate him being like all the way down at the bottom of the arena.
Yes, I know, but Mason has dubbed him Bane the Shaman during all of these readings.
Probably just have a very vigorous argument. Sweet, thank you, Bowser. That's definitely a plus. You said they get Bowser.
Yep, because Aku is now Bowser.
Well, for clarification, sir, her name is Pillar Zan Skyborn, which is actually not that long of a name. But then when you add her full rank and title on, it becomes Battle Priest Condor Pillar Zan Skyborn.
Yeah.
So when you have her full name, rank, and title, yes, it is a mouthful. But that's just how that's how these things work.
How epic fantasy works.
Bowser upgrade is tight. Lilu Koyan. Welcome to the chat. I believe I've seen you before, but welcome. Hope you enjoy your time here. Welcome to Garden. I don't know. It's for epic fantasy. How long? Yes. Hello. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, Kate, that's why TBG is an epic fantasy. I only like names with 6 syllables max. I'm too lazy to create longer than that. Team Dalj on 3. Hardy, har, Mason.
Oh.
Look at that tag team of feds. Hammer to the face. Fuck yeah, that's how you do it. Using them club, damn pogs. You are so hench. It's not. Wait, hench? What the fuck does that mean? You are so hench. I'm not sure what that means, Mason.
I don't know.
Hammer to the face defenses are tight. Yeah, but don't you know if you get hammered in the face, you can still raise your arms to defend yourself? Keep that one filed away for next time, Caitlin. That's a very true scientific fact you present, Mason. Hasta la viva, baby.
Oh man. Yeah, because that's our inside joke from having read Someone We Know.
Ah,
Yes, because in the beginning, he bludgeons the woman in the face with a hammer, but somehow, instead of just like falling to the ground and dying, she's able to somehow raise her hands and try and defend herself.
yeah, that's not how that works.
No, it's not.
And yes, Megan, you make a very good point. If Dalj was not, about to destroy the Empire, hypothetically, I'm not saying that's what happens.
Uh-huh.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would absolutely be a thing that started happening regularly. No, I was talking about Goliath. Tenna, stop it. Don't encourage him. I can't stomach a fucking proposal scene. Wow, and he even spelled it right, Caitlin. He spelled it right just off my enunciation. Hooked on phonics. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I will quickly show the stream what a hypnodrone is. You can't see it, Mason, so I will describe it to you. So this is a hand. So what this instrument is called a handpan. And it was actually invented not that long ago. I think it was the 60s or 70s handpans were invented. It was in the I guess that would be the 20th century now. But yeah, so it was invented in the 20th century, and it's shaped kind of like a flying saucer, and it's got these little divots where you're meant to strike with your hand, and they resonate differently depending on where you strike them. And they create very, very beautiful, haunting music when they're drummed rhythmically. I mean, they sound absolutely otherworldly, and it is very beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, if you got some time, Mason, after this, just Google, YouTube handpan music, and you'll hear how that thing sounds. But yeah, in Garden, it's called the Hypnodrome.
Well, he says down here, he says, I knew it was going to be a pan drum.
Ah, okay, nice. Treat you like garbage man or treat you like a garbage man? sorry, I'll shut up. It thinks she had it bad. Fuck. Yeah. I think just chaos has ripped those words away from my fingers. Which words, Jason? I always found that story heartbreaking because it sounded like it was based in truth. Yep. Wait, what? Chaos wants to play Xbox again? Oh, thank you, Orky. We try.
Yes.
Yes, I did know it's Jaeger. That's why it was funny. Americans don't say hench. Just means physically, as far as I know. Yeah. No, I can't say. I've ever heard an American say hench, unless it was henchmen, which is something different entirely.
Yeah.
FFS. I wish I'd said it now. Oh yeah, dude. Handpans are fucking tight. The bit about how learning the knowledge made Dalj flip. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on. Right. Yeah. Well, Dalj is a very angry boy. Almost like he's based off someone we all know. So yeah, that's the Garden of Lies. We just have a mere 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters left. 4 chapters left, everyone.
4 chapters. She's like, no, no one is that much of an expert.
You haven't met some of the people I've met. Alrighty, everyone. So, thank you so much for being here. 4 chapters left. And the action only ramps up from here. So, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait until you see the end. All right. Look to the skies, traveler. Welcome to Garden. 4 chapters till you hit me with some cliffhanger. That will drive me crazy. Hey, man. Maybe it's not a cliffhanger. Maybe the cliffhanger is a meteor hits the planet and everyone dies.
Maybe. He's like, but there's a book too, though.
Well, book 2, maybe it's like 1,000 years in the future after like the 2 or 3 survivors have repopulated the planet or something. You know, you never mind. You never know. Oh, that would be a very inbred population.
Yes, I was about to say, what is this? The Hills Have Eyes Productions?
Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah.
All right. Yep. 4 chapters until the end of the book. I've given up on the subscriber goal for the second book read. The second book read is probably just going to either be on the Patreon or just as an audiobook. What?
We could do it on Discord.
We could do it on Discord, but no. All right, everyone. Again, thank you for being here. Welcome to Garden. We'll see you next time. Done.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun. 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 Dun.